Hello, hello everybody. What is up? Good morning. How's it going? Okay, I'm gonna be doing some deck reviews for patrons. I want to go over how it's what up Yoshi. I want to go over like kind of how I've been doing it and how I'm gonna change it a little bit. So like, I'm gonna make some changes so I can do more deck lists a month. Feedback loop. Yo, thank you, Zeri B. Oh, you had the window open twice. Oh, okay. um, yeah. So basically, I'll show you how I'm doing them now. How I'm going to be changing them a little bit. This was supposed to be done like last week, but Architect was dead the day I had time to stream. So, oops. Yo, thank you. Hello, frontman. Yeah, 50K is huge. I'm very happy about it. So right now I have them like in folders. I'll put a link here for you to follow along if you want. And the way it works is we'll do the first one as an example. Is I get the deck list submitted to me, and then the maybe board is 4 cuts, and then the sideboard is 4 adds that I would use to replace them. You know what? I'm going to move the chat over here. This way I can make it a little bigger without intruding on the sideboard, maybe board. So that's how I've been doing them. And then basically what I would do is I would prepare something to say about every deck ahead of time. So now the problem was that this took a lot of time. And originally I was doing it for every patron no matter what. But then I did like 80 deck lists in like last December, and it was so much work. I just don't have the time to do that. That's really time consuming. So I'm going to do some changes. I'm going to go over these lists as normal, and then I'll show you the changes, and I'll use a couple of other patron decks as examples. So let's start with this commander. This card is Strange. It's like a 5-mana 6/6, and then it flies or whatever. You can sack a creature, make a blood token. If you sacrificed an angle, you make blood tokens equal to its toughness instead of 1. And then you can pay triple hybrid Orzhov, sacrifice 6 blood tokens to reanimate. Get out of here. Yeah, I know my drive is whatever. All right. Sacrifice 6 blood tokens, return each creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. They're vampires in addition to their other types. So there's a lot of ways to go with this. You can try to use it as like a mass reanimation thing to like self-mill, cheat out things. It's a sacrifice outlet. You can play aristocrats. You can do artifact things. I agree. It's a very metal commander. This commander is very sweet. Here's the thing: is this deck is like a Orzhov just like mid-range deck that I assume is using the commander to just do a late game mass reanimation, which is fine. I think you can totally do that. You can play your Orzhov mid-range life gainy game plan, get your guys back. But then the list had 31 lands with like a pretty high mana cost. I was like kind of baffled. So I decided we should make a few changes. Cut a lot of these like slower things. This is not a budget list. Like we're playing Grim Tutor, Imperial Seal, Demonic Tutor, Entomb, Enlightened Tutor. Right? This is not a budget list, but we're playing Demonic Collusion? Like, I get it's got buyback or whatever, but like, this card is, unless there's a combo I'm missing, this isn't a good card, right? Like, this card's not good. We had Pest Control. Maybe it's a meta call. I have no clue. It blows up all your blood tokens. It seems kind of weird. Rebuff the Wicked. Again, maybe a meta call. Not really sure why it's in this list. We have a sack outlet in the command zone, so we kind of dodge Path and Swords very easily. You can sack your stuff and then reanimate it with your commander. So I don't. This is just kind of odd. Cruelty of Gix. This deck is like more creature oriented. It's really slow, kind of eh. I know it's got read ahead, but I'm not impressed by read ahead. So I just suggested 4 MDFCs because you need more lands. If you're playing a slower, grindier mid-range deck, you want to hit your land drops, and 31 is just not enough. Especially if you're playing stuff like Cabal Coffers, like you want more lands, you know? So yeah, just like 4 more. I would even potentially cut some creatures and add more lands, but yeah, just more lands is kind of my suggestion here. Otherwise, you know, it's an alright Orzhov mid-range deck. Can't hate on it too much. Okay, next is I didn't mean to open that new tab, but I did. Next is a what is Minthara? What is the experience counter that it says right there? Experience counter commander. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. So this commander is strange, but really powerful. Like a lot stronger than I thought it was when I initially saw the card. It has Ward X, where X is the number of experience counters you have, which is great. And then at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter. Great. And then it anthems your team, +1/+0 for every experience counter you have. So this commander it protects itself and buffs your team, which is pretty great. It's one thing that's kind of neat about this commander is protection that gives indestructible is kind of all you need, because once the ward cost gets to like 3 or 4, it's like close enough to hexproof. Kind of just an interesting thing about this commander. Here's a couple of changes. So this deck is playing kind of like a blink strategy a little bit to trigger that, you know, experience counter effect. There's some sacrificing things, but we're playing, you know, Ketramos, we're playing Felia, right? We're blinking things. Blinking your Spirited Companion, making it stronger, blah, blah, blah. So here are my cuts. 1, Ruthless Lawbringer. Okay, I know you can blink it and get repeatable removal and all that. Yeah, what up, Samuel? I know you can blink your Lawbringer and like get repeatable removal, but you have to keep sacrificing things, and your deck isn't going that wide, and you don't want to actually sacrifice your real stuff. So I'm like kind of mid on this card. Honestly, Anguish Unmaking is probably better because it exiles. Grateful Apparition, I think, is a bit win more. Once you already have your commander out and you're getting experience counters, a random flyer that proliferates once is like kind of mid. Maybe the Proliferate land. Yeah, they already have the Proliferate land. They got Karn's Bastion in here. So I think Grateful Apparition a bit mid, bit slow, bit win more. And then Cloud Shift, it's just like, I know it's like the cheapest kind of default blink card. You already have Ephemerate, which is better, but like Cloud Shift is kind of the other one that's like default, but it doesn't provide too much other utility. I think it's a little eh. So a couple of changes. Anguish Unmaking, like I said. Martial Coup, I felt like you could use another board wipe, and Martial Coup is so good in this deck because it clears the board, makes a bunch of dudes, you recast your commander, and then you suddenly have like a bunch of 6/1s, and if somebody didn't follow up with many blockers, you just kind of take them out of the game. It really sets you up to win in this deck like really often. And then Plumb the Forbidden. This lets you, you can cantrip it to gain an experience counter, but if we're adding some more tokeny things, and you have a few other, you know, token makers, it could be pretty good. You don't need, I think people think of Plumb the Forbidden as like, oh, I need to sacrifice 10 creatures for it to be worth it. And like, don't get me wrong, that's good when you draw 10 cards, but you can also like cast it, sacrifice like 3 things, and it's still really powerful, and getting the experience counter is nice. I really like the card. Filigree Vector to proliferate and sack. I actually don't know what this card is. This? Enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on any number of target creatures and a charge counter on any. Okay, interesting. Sacrifice another artifact. How many artifacts do we really have to sacrifice? I guess there's like a decent amount. Like you can attack with your Dalek Squadron and like sack the Myriad token. I wonder if you're just not gonna have enough artifacts to sack. Because like this doesn't stay in play. You don't really want to sack your rocks or your skull clamp, you know? Eh? That's an interesting card. I've actually never seen this card. It is very interesting. Maybe. Overall, this list looks pretty fine. I just felt like, maybe a little bit more card draw would have been nice, a little bit more token production, and just some of these like slightly lower impact cards I think would be made better if they had this. Kind of Ghost Assassin's probably not good enough to run. This card kind of sucks, but I assume it's in here because you like it. What bracket is this deck supposed to be? I think like 2 to 3, 2, yeah. I think this is supposed to be a 2, which it has no game changers, right? Yeah. I think it's a 2. It's a fair 2, I think. It's just kind of like Orzhov attacky. This card's cool. Yeah, I've never heard of it before. March of the Machine Commander, that's interesting. All right, on to the next list. Next is a Flage Toolbox deck. So this deck's kind of fun. We're playing a lot of interesting... yo, what up, Jonas? We're playing a lot of, like, interesting tutory things. So we got, like, Jaxus and Imperial Recruiter. This is one of my favorite engines in the game. You can use Imperial Recruiter to get Jaxus. And then Jaxus can make copies of Imperial Recruiter to get anything else you need. Which is kind of awesome. And then, you got, like, the Elk's favorite combo here. You got Thalia's Lancers, which lets you search up Felia. And then Felia will blink the Thalia's Lancers, which lets you then search up, I don't know, Jaxus or Feldon or any other legendary, creatures. It lets you like do all these like fun things. So we got a bunch of like utility creatures, tutor packages, very very mid-rangey, grindy kind of deck. This is sweet. I love this. Couple of changes here. Sarah Avatar was just in the list randomly. I don't know why. If this is your favorite card and you think it's really funny, you can leave it in or whatever, but I didn't get the purpose of the card. Now you did have this as one fling effect, which I guess is good with Sarah Avatar. But like, it's one fling effect. And like this isn't legendary, so it's not like we can tutor out this combo with our Thalia's Lancers chain. So it just seemed kind of weird. And this kind of seemed to not have anything to do with the deck, especially because we're kind of a blink deck. So you don't want to be sacrificing your guys because you want to be like ghost awaying and ephemerating them, right? So like, I don't know. Oh, how's Jojo doing? I missed that. He's good. He's good. He's getting ready for a shed. He's probably going to shed soon, I think. Maybe the next like week or so. You also have this rescuer, Chewinga. I get what it's for, but like, your commander already brings itself back from the graveyard anyway. You have blink effects to dodge spot removal. It's kind of I don't know. It's just very low impact, very slow. Get the boy hydrated? Yeah. I've tried making wet hides for him where I like spritz underneath like a thing, and he just hates it. He just prefers the like, it's more wet like under the layer, so he just burrows more, but he doesn't like the wet hides that I make for him. A couple of ads. So one, just cut like a mountain or plains for Legion Leadership. I love this card. Legion Leadership is so good. Oh, yes, sorry. No. My lizard's name is Jojo. My dog's name is Wiley because she looks like a coyote. I realize like chat might not know. I have a pet lizard. That's what people are asking about. Legion Leadership. This card is so good. Oh my! I have won a bunch of games randomly off of this. Until end of turn, double target creature's power and it gains first strike. So one thing to note, it doesn't say your creature, it says target creature. Somebody gets attacked for 10 and it doesn't get blocked, you can be like, oopsies, that's 20, got him, right? You also have a 6-power commander that is recursive. So Legion leadership is really dangerous with this. If you hit someone once with Flage and you swing again, they're like, I can take another 6. Then you can suddenly be like, oops, that's actually 12, and they're taking a lot of damage. And then it gives the creature first strike. Again, really good with a high power commander like this. If they attack you with something big, thinking you might have to trade or something, if the first strike is really powerful. What kind of lizard is Jojo? He's a blue-tongued skink. Wanting to build a Master of Keys deck. Should I just buy the precon? My card is already... No, don't buy the precon. Don't buy the precon. I didn't make a video about this, but I'm not a big fan of precons these days. It depends on what the precon's going for, but a lot of the times the precons with like good cards get these markups, and it's just not worth it if you were going to buy it, keep the commander, and replace half the deck anyway, you know? That'll be its own video. That'll be its own video. Back to this deck, though. Mind's Eye. So, this card is, like, crazy in these, like, slower, grindier, mid-rangey games. It used to be, like, the bee's knees in Commander, and everybody played it. Now nobody does, and it's still really good. Highly recommend. Scroll Rack, bit of an expensive addition, I know. I wish the card wasn't too pricey. Precon's going for 30? I guess that's not too bad. It really depends on how many things in the precon you're going to use. If you really just want the commander, it's probably like financially more worth it to just buy the commander, and like, because you know you're spending money on those like basic lands in the deck and the other crap that you're going to cut. So it's like I don't know. I would just buy the commander. It's like a $1 card, right? Right, Master of Keys, right? It's an 88-cent card. If you don't care about the other cards in the precon, you can just buy one of these. It'll save you money. Mind's Eye, still a good card. I think this card is still underrated. Scroll Rack, you're playing land tax. You're kind of a slower mid-rangey deck. You have a bunch of shuffle effects with all the tutors. It's going to be crazy in this deck. It's so good. You just build the deck in advance to see what the differences between buying the precon and singles are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get your deck list together, and if you're like, okay, I'm going to keep all of these cards that would be in the precon, maybe it's worth. If not, it's probably not worth. And then the Gaffer. So I really like this guy as just recursive card draw in a slower mid-rangey deck like this. One, it is a legendary creature, so when you're on the Thalia's Lancer's toolbox, it is a thing you can get if you're like, oh, I think this is a game where I will have my commander out regularly and I would like to draw cards because I'm against other grindy decks. This is a good tool to have in your toolbox. Yeah, overall, cool deck. I like all the tutor packages. This deck is pretty fun. It looks like a blast to play. Looks like something I would build. So yeah, awesome deck. Awesome deck here. Just a few small changes. Okay, this deck was confusing. This is a sticker deck. So there's a bunch of stickers. And we're like proliferating our... Hey, they're playing Filigree Vector. And we're like proliferating the tickets, which I kind of forgot that you could even do. Someone whipped out stickers on Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, they're kind of goofy. It's like... I don't know. I don't... I find them so annoying. I find the stickers so annoying. But anyway, whatever. We're playing a sticker deck here. It's like Thrasios Tymna. This is the most jank Thrasios Tymna pile I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, it's also a pod deck. This deck is so weird. So I made a couple of changes, and maybe I'm missing something. If if somebody in chat, can explain why these cards are in the list for a reason other than I'm gonna say, maybe I'll make changes. Frantic Search. We don't have that many graveyard synergies. I don't know why we're playing this card. It doesn't give us card advantage. It's just like free looting, which is good in the right deck, but I don't think it's necessary here. Sword of the Animist. I think this card is kind of doo-doo. It's really good in the right deck. The decks that really have the ability to attack and want to attack and can easily attack. And even though we're a Tymna deck, we're not really attacking that well. Like what we got, Disciple of Bolus, Chicken Troop. Like these aren't like Delany is great, I guess, and like so is this, but like is Ambassador Blorpity Bloop actually gonna get in with the Sword of the Animist? I don't think so. He has no keywords. We have a lot of things that just don't quite have the ability to like get in beyond maybe some flying. It seems kind of just slow compared to like normal ramp, You need many 1-drops for Animist, but yeah, I agree. If you have a lot of 1-mana creatures, Sort of the Animist gets like way better, and we just don't have that here. And then last change, there's like this 3-fold Thunderhulk in the deck for I have no clue. Unknown reasons, I guess. I couldn't figure it out. So a couple of changes. We're playing a 4-color slow jank commander deck with Thrasios. Screw Frantic Search. Just put an X draw spell in there and just draw like a billion cards in the late game, right? You know what, Alec, man? I'll explain it in the Discord. But I'm going to be making some slight changes to how I'm doing this. But yeah, I'll just post in the channel there to reflect the new order. So we're just playing a slow Thrasios deck. Let's just play Pull from tomorrow. Like, why not? Like, why are we doing like the like goofy efficient like card draw thing isn't useful here because we're not searching for a combo. I don't think. So this is just better. Planar Genesis. I think this card is awesome. If you watched my last stream with 3/3 Elk, you saw Elk play this card, and it's pretty sweet. It lets you ramp. It can be card draw in the late game. I think it's way better than Sword of the Animist in this deck. And then, if you want a thing that gets counters like the Thunderhulk, I think Hangerback Walker is the best option, but that card's like $15. Marketback Walker does a similar thing in terms of putting counters and proliferating, and it draws cards. What does Triumphs of the Hordes do with the presumed board state this deck makes? I don't know. I have no clue. I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know if this deck is good. Like, I seriously can't. I sat here looking at this thing, going like, all right, what are we doing? Like, how are we winning? And I'm not entirely certain, to be honest. I don't know if Triumph... Like, I feel like I need to play against this deck a little bit to, like, see what it does. Maybe with a couple of swords on something, like, you can get there, but I don't know. This works with Proliferate. I mean, that is true, actually, right? If you get, like, if you hit them once with an Ambassador Blorpity Bloop that has Infect, you can proliferate the rest of the lethal. Which is, that's like a thing. Maybe? That might be their goal. This deck is so weird because it's like a poison proliferate deck as their win con, but then it has stickers for like no reason. Hangerback Walker? Oh, sorry. I said Hangerback Walker, Amino Frog. I meant Walking Ballista. I meant Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista is the correct best choice. A Hangerback Walker is actually not a bad idea either. If you're, so actually, here's the thing: Hangerback Walker, if you proliferate it and then like sack it, that's a real win condition with Triumph of the Hordes, right? There's other ways to give everyone, yeah. There are other ways to give people poison counters. I don't. This deck is weird because it wants what it wants to do. Its like main thing is you want to put stickers on Tymna because it's funny, right? That is ultimately the goal of this deck. Right, we're gonna put Undying on our Tymna, so it comes back with a counter, and then we'll give it prowess or something, you know? That's like what the deck wants to do, and then I guess this is just plan B so it has a more realistic way to win, is what I'm thinking, you know? The biggest problem with this deck is it can't go through efficiently. Yes. Is Atraxa not considered? No, Atraxa's just in the 99. Stickers are a red herring for the poison menace. It just has value creatures, but no focus. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the focus is the stickers. It's a very odd deck. It's very strange. It kind of can go wide a little bit. The Skitter Spike is super interesting as well. I don't know if there's a sticker combo with it. Because there is one that's like tap deal damage, but I'm not... Pay 2, this probably deals 2 damage to any target? I don't know. I mean, you have this one. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, this permanent becomes a 13/13 Eldrazi in addition to its other types until end of turn. Eh? $1,000 budget. Tymna stickers makes me say. I mean, it's just the mana base, really, right? That's like half the cost of this deck is just the mana base. I mean, it's a good mana base because it's a 4-color deck. They're going to hit all their colors. I mean, I guess the other... It's not... Not that the other parts are budget. Like a Chroma's Will is not a budget card. Neither is Worldly Tutor. But a lot of the price of this deck is the mana base, which is why you should invest in your mana base. This is like a quick PSA to everybody. Is if you want to like eventually like build a good collection, you just should buy every land you can every time they get reprinted, and then because that's what you need to make the deck actually function. The rest of the deck is ultimately, sadly, less important than the mana base, and it sucks that these don't get reprinted enough. Yeah, that's all I have to say about the sticker deck, to be honest. I think these changes are improvements. I think. It's a bit of an odd deck. Alright. Let's move on to... This is definitely a product of a good card serving goofy goal style of making a lower bracket deck. Yes, yeah, I agree. Like, see, so what Nathan here in the chat is saying is I actually completely disagree with, right? Fetches and OG Jewels should be on the Game Changers list. I completely disagree with that. Because, like, the thing is with mana bases is I want everybody to have a good mana base. Right, as just a person playing casual EDH, I want people to have good mana bases, period. Because I don't want to play against your 5-color deck that's all basics and you just don't get to play the game, right? That's like the worst is when, when I'm playing against someone and they just are, they're like mono swamps in their like 4-color deck and they just don't do anything. That sucks. Which is why I don't want any restrictions on, like, fetches and duels and shocks and blah, 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 blah. That's why I don't want them to be game changers. I don't want them... Because even if you're playing a bracket 2 deck, I don't want you to lose games due to, like, randomness, They do push players out due to affordability, which is a totally separate issue to the gameplay thing, right? Game changers are not... based on price, which is good, right? Otherwise, like, City in a Bottle would be a game changer, right? Because it's expensive or whatever, right? Like, expensive doesn't always mean good, you know? Uh, so because of that, and like, yes, fetches and shocks should be reprinted like way more so everybody has access to them, but I don't want them to be like game changers, you know? If you are less than 4 colors, 100%, you can build like a reasonable mana base, especially if you're in 2 colors, right? People say this about like my decks. I've definitely had people ask about like, oh, you know, can I make like a budget version of like Sig or whatever? And like honestly, if you just cut the fetches, it's like the price of the deck like goes down like pretty far. If you just like cut the fetches, you can like tank the price pretty heavily. And I just have them because I've been playing for like 15 years or whatever. Like I just eventually have one of every fetch land, you know? What is Tabernacle of Pendelvale is an actual powerful Magic the Gathering card though, right? Tabernacle, right? This card's like actually good though, right? This isn't a game changer because of price. Like, this card actually has like a strong effect. No? They also barely change exactly. So yeah, so we can look at, you know, if we look at a precon and I take out 3 basics and I added 3 dual lands, the precon still isn't a CDH deck. It's still not very powerful. Right? It's just some percentage of games where it would lose to having drawn only basics and not hitting the colors, it goes away, right? Yeah, you don't see Tabernacle because it's expensive. I think a lot of people also just don't know what the card is. Like, a lot of casual EDH players don't know what... I should zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. A lot of casual EDH players don't know about these old Legends cards. Like, Chains of Mephistopheles is also a really powerful card. I think a lot of people like legitimately just have no clue that this card exists, you know? No, I agree with you. Grungy, because like, yeah, like $3,000 for a card is like comical, you know? It's a it's pretty silly, you know? Do I proxy True Duels? So I used to. I used to proxy all my like a bunch of True Duels, and then I had people like comment on my decks all the time. They're like, "Oh, this deck has a dual land. That's the reason it's good." And it's like, you didn't look at any other card. You just saw that there's like one volcanic island, and that's the reason the deck is powerful. So I took them out of my decks because it was like just kind of annoying, and it's not necessary in my like Tawanos list to have a volcanic island. I just liked having an optimal mana base and proxying it. But like, yeah, dual lands, I have no problem if you like proxy dual lands, you know? Tabernacle is also very niche for Commander because there's not many strategies don't use creatures. Well, you can play Tabernacle in a deck that just plays a few. Like, you can play Tabernacle in a Voltron deck. You only care about one creature anyway. You just pay 1 to keep it in play, and then everybody else's stuff goes away. Nether Void is low-key more nuts than Trinisphere. Trinisphere, I said this in my video. this card should not be a game changer. This card is not strong against casual decks. It's pretty funny. Dual lands do not make a huge difference. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. In a 5-color deck, having all 10 duals is a meaningful difference. In a 2-color Izzet deck, having 1 dual land over 1 basic is not that much of a difference. It is not a meaningful increase in your power. Right? Like, the more colors you have, yes, the more important those duels and triomes and fetches become. And if you're in a 3, 4, 5-color deck, especially for 4 and 5-color decks, it is a meaningful power increase. But if you're in 3 or 2, especially 2-color decks, fetches and duels do not make a huge difference. It's not an impactful thing. If you see a 2-color deck and it has a dual land in it, that is not the reason the deck is good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in two color, it's like it doesn't. But that was my problem with it. Is I would have it in my like. I think I just proxied like the Grixis ones or whatever. I would have it like in my Tawanos list, and people would be like, "Oh, you have a volcanic island. That's why the deck is good." But like, Volcanic Island wasn't the powerful land of the deck. Academy Ruins, which is also not a very budget card, is a powerful card in the deck that does make a meaningful increase in power. You know. Yeah, Trinisphere, I agree, is confusing. We're way off topic. I'll get back to the deck reviews in a second. Yes, Trinisphere does not make any sense as a game changer in any capacity. It's like, okay, it slows down like Storm and Spellslinger decks, and like yes, if you're on like if a bracket 2 Jeskai Storm deck is what you're doing, then like yeah, Trinisphere sucks. But so does like Rule of Law, right? Like Rule of Law, which isn't a game changer, is like way more hampering than a Trinisphere is. Not that I think this needs to be a game changer, by the way. This is like completely fine. But like Trinisphere makes no sense at all. It's very silly. Agreed, Lucky Owl. Even a 5-color deck with a perfect mana base is only as strong as like exactly. Yes. Trinisphere is there for the salt. What salt? All right, let's look at this patron user's deck as an example here for like Trinisphere. Is it gonna be a salty card? Their deck is like a lot of 3-drops and 4-drops and 5-drops. And then the commander's a 4-drop? Like, yeah, it's kind of annoying if the Skull Clamp costs 2 more. But like, does the Trinisphere do anything? Like, I can still cast Kakusho normally. It doesn't do like it's so like minimal in its effect that when you compare Trinisphere to other stacks pieces like Winter Orb or even just Smokestacks itself, it's like it falls so flat. It's like crazy. I don't even know if I've seen anyone be salty about Trinisphere. It's crazy. Although I don't see it too often though, so I don't know. Defense Grid is a good card. That card is strong. My Soul Ring is now a Warren Power Stone. No, Warren Power Stone enters tapped, right? Right, it enters tapped. It's still worse than your Soul Ring is still better than this. Trinisphere is regularly worse than like Yes for Resistance. Shout out to Tanglewire. Yo, Tanglewire is a brute. Is this a game changer? Tanglewire. Is it gonna tell me if it's a game changer? Does Scryfall say if it's a game changer or not? Wait, is this not a game changer? Wait, on the Commander Game Changers list. Wait, Tanglewire's not a game changer? Yo, wait, this card's crazy. Trinisphere is impactful in CH but not casual. It's weird to see it do the overall higher. Yeah, exactly. You got a guilty pleasure for. Oh, I love 5-mana commanders with your like more power stats. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, beta's ending soon, and I'm pretty confident they're going to add more. Right. Okay. For people who don't know, Tanglewire is like a really good Magic the Gathering card. This card is very, very, very powerful. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they have to tap an untapped artifact, creature, or land they control for each counter on it. And then it has fading. So this like forces them to tap down their creatures or mana rocks or lands. And then yeah, the Stuffy Doll callback in this is so sweet. And then one of the crazy things is because of the way fading works, it breaks parity with itself. So you play it, your next opponent taps 4 things, they tap, the next opponent taps 4 things, the next opponent taps 4 things, and then you only tap 3 because it lost a counter. Right, so you already like break parity with it by itself. Is strongly. I'm not saying Trinisphere has no impact in casual, but I don't think it has the same impact as I think it has a like. If you like playing Is It Spellslinger, Rule of Law is a more difficult card for you to beat, and that is not a game changer. And it seems odd for Trinisphere to be like that. I don't think Trinisphere shows up in casual EDH that much. You tap it, yes, and you tap it to itself, yes. So it's it breaks parity with itself. This thing is really good. I hope you're not on a tight schedule today. No, I'm not. I got time today. I got time. We're gonna be streaming for a while. Yeah, this card's. My friend played it in a Brago stacks list because if you blink it with Brago, you can like reset it. If you're playing Is It Spellslinger, you do with artifacts easily too. Yes, Rule of Law. I think Rule of Law is just a crazy Magic the Gathering card. Like, I'm much more inclined to believe that this is a game changer than Trinisphere because this is far more backbreaking for Spellslinger decks. I think. And this card is very powerful. Although, I don't think it needs to be a game changer because a lot of casual EDH decks don't care about this, right? If you're Timmy playing your green Stompy deck, you just cast a creature, and then you attack. And then you cast a creature, and you attack. And you don't have to worry about this. Yeah. No, I love Rule of Law. I think it's really cool in... there's a bunch of, like, Kenrith. There's some Kenrith lists. I don't know if they're as popular these days, but there are some Kenrith-y stacks lists that play Rule of Law, and then they just, in CDH. And then they play Kenrith, and they just use his activated abilities to get value, because that's not casting a spell. You cast your one spell, you activate an ability. It's kind of like two spells, but you only cast one. It's kind of cool. I know Rule of Law, like, obviously, it is still annoying to deal with for other decks, but there's a lot of decks that are casual decks that want to play one big spell and then pass the turn, and Rule of Law doesn't impede that, and I think that's a lot of casual decks. If you have a modest value-based creatures at sorcery speed, Rule of Law doesn't mean you can't play the game, right? If you're like, I want to be casting 3-drop, 3-drop, but instead I have to cast 4-drop pass, it's like not that big. Like, you're still doing things. Like, I don't think it's that big of a effect. So I've been playing Rule of Law a lot in my Heliod list, which is like a slightly higher power deck or whatever, so I don't play it against like precons. But in general, Rule of Law hasn't been like too impactful. A lot of players don't even remove it. Curse of Silence, the 1%. Yeah, Curse of Silence works, yeah. It can be pretty good. Yeah, and you can use like Gandalf to you know, flash things in to get around the Rule of Law. It's pretty sweet. Okay, all right, wait, we gotta get back to the patron deck reviews. We're way off track. Meren. So this is like a classic kind of like Meren mid-range list. It's nothing too insane, nothing too crazy. It looks good. It looks good. Like, there's not too many things I would change. The mana base looks all right. We got some good removal in here. Toxic Deluge, Beast Within, Assassin's Trophy. I like it. All good stuff. A couple of changes. We had like a little aristocracy sort of package in here. This deck is not an aristocrats deck, though. We're like mid-range, right? You don't want to be sacrificing your Scavenging Ooze. It has an ability that grows, right? Yeah, we have the Succor Tri-Builder, but like, what are we getting? One ping off of that from a Blood Artist? That's nothing. We're reanimating once a turn. This is like a slower. We're not going wide and sacking 20 things, you know? How many times will Spore Frog die today? Hopefully a lot. That card's sweet. Yeah, Rule of Law is close to unbeatable for mono red. Spellslinger, at least blue, is it can bounce it, then Pseudo-Storm. I honestly feel like Prison Effects are... Yeah, I totally agree with you, John, is if you're exactly mono red Storm, like, Rule of Law will obliterate you. But, like, we can't add a game changer for everything that obliterates, like, one specific deck. Like, how many mono red Spellslinger decks are there? Like, I don't know. Black and Belt Silver cards being donated out of the tombs from Warhammer. I don't. Is that the expensive one? Out of the. Yes, yes. This card is good. I usually on these deck reviews, I don't usually recommend cards that cost more than $10. I try to avoid that. But I do agree Out of the Tomb is a good card. You keep trying to play Lantern Control. Are you planning to play Lantern and EDH? Maybe Doom Whisper for this deck? Maybe. I don't know if we got the life gain to keep up with that. Anyway, cut these like Aristocrats things. We're not an Aristocrats deck. The new Taval's Judgment, I think it's going to go down in price when the set actually releases. This card's really sweet. You get to make treasures, you get to draw cards, you make more fodder. Culling Ritual. This card is crazy in Meren. It gives you like a ton of mana. It's a reanimated fat thing. It also like kills your guys, but it doesn't kill Meren. Really useful. And then Casualties of War. If we're playing like a slow, grindier, mid-range control deck, Casualties of War is like a 4-for-1 usually. It's crazy value, and in the late game, this card will just like tip the scales in your favor in such a way that it's like every time I've cast a Casualties of War, I really feel like I'm winning the game because this card is just so powerful. Iona hoses more casual decks than rule, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, agreed. Out of the Tomb takes a while to get yarn, but it's I agree. Out of the Tombs is really good. I'll put it here as like a for when the patron like watches it or whatever, they can see the suggestion. It's just kind of an expensive card. In EDH, yeah, I've tried to play a Lantern Control in EDH too. It sucks. It's like undoable. It's barely doable in Modern, and it's way harder in EDH. Overall, this is a good classic Meren deck. This is a sweet commander that's been around for a little while. So, yeah, just a couple of changes. I would recommend trying this new Taval's Judgment. I think it's very good. Okay, we've only done 5. Oh my goodness. How does Lantern Control work in EDH? It doesn't. That's the idea of your question. You have to play like way harder lock pieces than Ensnaring Bridge. Like you need like Ensnaring Bridge, you need a Humility, you need a Light Mind Field on top of all that crap. It's like it's so difficult to like do any lock, and then you need like a billion artifact clones. It's just not worth it to make it like any level of efficient. Okay, next is Paladin Elspeth Taggarty. So this is like it's got battalion. You want to attack, and then you put dudes into play, Basically, you need Seaborn Muse, yes. Or, what's that new one? What's the blue one? Unstoppable Plan? Yeah, Unstoppable Plan is what I'm thinking of. So I got pinged, and I don't know how. I thought I had streamer mode enabled. Anyway, this commander is pretty sweet. It also like puts dudes onto the battlefield, where X is her power. So I like that we're going with the like putting smaller dudes into play strategy instead of trying to like cheat out something big. I think that's pretty sweet. Quick question. It looks like my submission for the reviews missed the deadline. Will I get a chance next month? Yes, Titus, you will get a chance next month. If you signed up in April, I'm making some changes, and we'll probably get to your list, actually. First commander I ever made was Xanathar Guild Kingpin. Yeah, you can kind of play him as like Lantern because you're stealing things. It's useful. Surprised to see Takasa's Welcome and not Benny Brax or Caretakers. Maybe a budget consideration. I think so, right? Takasa's Welcome is a decent card, but Benny Brax is. Oh wait, is Benny Brax only $3 now? Wasn't he like $15? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm missing something, but I thought this card was like $15. What was the Casualties of War? Yeah. Oh. Is it Casualties, sorry. Yeah, this card is sweet. You choose one or more. You blow up an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, planeswalker. The Planeswalker one you usually don't hit, but you could always hit a utility land. You can almost always hit a creature. You can almost always snarp an artifact. And if you also get an enchantment, it's like a 4-for-1. It's crazy. This card late game is nuts. It was when he got reprinted. Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, well, maybe I'd recommend Benny Brax in here as well, because this card is very good. This is really, really, really good, yeah. Golgari Decimate that doesn't require... Yeah, exactly. That's the classic... yeah, here's a little PSA. This card's unbelievably bad. Because of the way Decimate is worded, you have to have an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land as a target, right? You need all of them. So because of that, if there's no enchantments in play, you just cannot cast the spell. And if you're the only one with an enchantment in play, you have to destroy your own. Whereas Casualties of War, because it's choose one or more with all these bullet points, you can just mix and match how you choose, which is way better. Yeah, poor Decimate's so bad. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, whoa, this card's crazy. And then somebody explained to me, they're like, no, you have to hit all the things. It's like, oh. When Decimate is good, it's great, which is why Casualties of War is, like, so good. I know it's more mana, but, like, it's why this is so good. You've rarely seen a board with 0 enchantments? I don't know. I feel like sometimes it happens. Or sometimes it's just yours, which is awkward. Okay, a couple of changes. So, one, we can cut, like, a mountain or plains for Amonkhet Raceway. Look, this is an aggressive deck. We're looking to attack almost every single turn. And here's the thing, is I know late game, this card is just a untapped land, which is useless. But we're in 2 colors. We can play utility lands, you know? And because of that, if you play this early game, oh my goodness, a haste enabler on a land is so powerful. Like, imagine if this didn't have the Start Your Engines text, this would be like one of the most busted lands of all time. So if you think about it, like, let's say you play this on turn, 2 or something, and then you hit. By turn 4, you have, like, maybe turn 5 or 6, you have a chance at having this be like a really powerful land. You're selective about when you run Decimate, but when you have, it hasn't been an issue. I mean, I'm glad it hasn't been an issue. It's just, I don't know. Decimate and Casualties don't fizzle unless all the targets are gone. Yes. For the most part, spells attempt to hit as many targets as they can. Is this a go deck? No, this is not a go deck. This is like a combat attacky deck. So cut like a Plains or Mountain for Amonkhet Raceway. Couple of other changes. Faithless Looting. We're not a graveyard deck. It's not card advantage. It's card disadvantage. Not a big fan. Ogre Battle Driver. I have a recommendation to swap that. So Benny Brax. We could swap the Takasa's Welcome for Benny Brax. I think Benny is probably better, but honestly, you might just want both. This might sound kind of weird, but I actually don't know if we care about gamble. What are we gambling for? Like, yes, you can gamble for, I guess, Benny or something if you want card draw. But again, we're not a graveyard deck. It doesn't feel as good. Other than anger, we don't care about anything. So, like, there's nothing we want in the graveyard. So I actually don't really like gamble here, and I think Benny is just better. Full Throttle. My goodness, this commander is good with extra combat steps. Full Throttle gives you 2. It's going to win games. Rising of the Day is another haste enabler. It also pumps your commander's power, which works for its ability, and it's 1 mana less than Ogre Battle Driver. I think it's probably a little better just because of that, like, 1 less mana. That's my thoughts. And yeah, Arena of Glory. Isn't Hall of the Bandit Lord better Raceway? Yes, but here's the problem with Hall of the Bandit Lord. It is $15. But I agree, yes, Hall of the Bandit Lord is a better Amonkhet Raceway. And if you're willing to spend the $15 on it, go ahead. Arena of Glory is also a better, is an even better Hall of the Bandit Lord. It is also much more expensive. Gamble for Soul Ring every time? Yeah. The fetches that grab bases could be swapped for tapped duels. I also agree with that. Yes, Terramorphic Expanse could be swapped for another tapped duel. Or even just a basic, honestly. You're in 2 colors. I personally like. I can put these here. I actually don't really like these cards in 2-color decks. Like, if you just cut Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds for a Plains and a Mountain, you're probably still fine. You know? I don't agree with Faithless Looting is card neutral because cards in graveyard with flashback is functionally up. Yeah, except there's nothing in the deck with flashback. It doesn't... Like I agree with you, Faithless Looting is a good Magic the Gathering card. But here's the problem: is other than anger, there's literally nothing in the entire deck that cares about things in the graveyard. There's no flashback, there's no retrace, there's no harmonize, there's nothing. And at that point, we're just churning through our deck, but we're not even digging for a combo. If you're not willing to spend the dollars on Rising of the Day, you can spend on Tuk Tuk Rebel for it. Yeah, I do think that, when it's 58 cents TCG mid, I think it's like fine enough, Gamble for 3 wishes. Yeah. Looting itself has... do you want to be spending 3 mana for a Faithless Looting? It's like... Faithless Looting by itself is like not a good Magic card, right? It's not inherently a powerful card. It is good with other, like we see it in, like Jundi type decks in Modern, but like, we have no benefit for the discarding. It's literally card disadvantage, right? You put Terramorphic... I mean, yeah, putting Terramorphic Expanse to trigger like Descend or something is fine. Like, there's other uses for it. It's just we have no uses for it. There's no Crucible World in this deck. I'm gonna move on to the next list. Faithless Looting. It's good in graveyard decks. This isn't a graveyard deck though, so I don't think it's like needed. Okay, this deck was confusing. So this is like a Lich deck. We're trying to play like Lich. Here's another expensive, goofy card that should not be a game changer, but even though it is like a gajillion dollars. And then we're playing like Lich's Mastery and like the Mirror Universe to like swap our life total with other players. Another expensive card that doesn't need to be a a game changer, but it is expensive and goofy. Not arguing for looting is good in this deck. Yeah. You're right. It is kind of card neutral because it has flashback. You're correct. Looting in your Goyf decks are great. Oh, this is your deck. All right. Yeah. All right. We have the deck builder in the chat here. Okay. This deck was so confusing. I have so many questions here. Oh wait, this is the wrong card. Peer through depths. That's the wrong card. I want Peer into the Abyss. Okay. All right. So we have you. We have you in the chat, which is great. We can ask some questions. Okay. So let me talk some changes first, and then we'll ask the questions. All right. Other End is like 4 mana. I know it exiles, but I think Generous Gift is like in meaningfully enough better. Because it hits utility lands, which is really great. You're able to hit a Glacial Chasm or whatever. I guess your deck doesn't care about Glacial Chasm, but you know what I mean. You can hit a Cabal Coffers. And it's 1 mana less. I think that's like a swap. Reliquary Tower. I think you can cut this for Reflecting Pool and just play things that give you no max hand size. Because, like, you're already really strained on colors, so I'm not a huge fan of like a colorless land here. Where's the Tree of Perdition? So I'm thinking Reliquary Tower gets axed. Maybe like, because here's the cool thing about Spellbook is if you've already played your land for turn and you drew a bunch of cards, you can still Spellbook. It lets you like do some fun things. And then Peer into the Abyss, kind of like. You don't care about losing half your life in this deck, especially without your commander. It's kind of fun. And then you had an Approach of the Second Sun. I'm super curious about this. Could you explain, like... like what like what approach does in this list. Like I get, yes, I know it says win the game, right? Um, I know it says win the game, and it goes back on top if your deck is empty. But do we need this? How does it work with the theme? You made the sticker deck. You should probably choose a different. The sticker deck was also confusing. You have these cards for a long time, and you want to play them, right? No, I get having the like Lich in the Mirror universe and wanting to put them in a deck. That's fine. Like I get that. Has there been a discussion here about having no max hands? Is it even necessary? And in a deck that draws that many, it's not. But I think this might be the list that kind of needs it because of how jank it is. Because you can just draw your entire library and leave the Lich in play, right? Which is what you want to do, yes, right? Because so let me pull up the. Let's read the Oracle text of Lich real quick. As this enters, you lose life equal to your life total. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. If you would gain life, draw that many cards instead. Whenever you dealt damage, sacrifice that many non-token permanents. If you can't, you lose the game. When this is put in your graveyard, you lose the game, right? So this says when you draw a card, target opponent loses life, you gain a life, right? Which means with the Lich effect and your commander, you draw your entire deck, right? But we don't have the fast mana to draw our entire deck and also win, right? So we have to pass the turn, which is why Spellbook makes sense in this list. I do agree. I do know Approach at the Second Sun wins the game, but we also have Laboratory Maniac and a draw our entire deck combo. So I don't know why we also need Approach. Oh, I guess you use Scourge Familiar for all the black mana? Can we turn it into mana with colors? What is the combo here? This deck has a... Not making to our discard step if we just kill our opponents. Yes, that's what I'm thinking as well. Which is why I only have 3 cuts and like 3 real ads. These are just kind of like... These are more for questions. You have the Reaver. There's also Meat Hook Massacre. Oh wait, there's Torment of Hailfire. What am I stupid? There's a Torment of Hailfire. Right, okay. Sorry, we just draw our deck, play Scourge Familiar, Torment of Hailfire the whole table, right? How does Tree of Perdition and Kudo... Doesn't Kudo just make Tree a 2/2 and then it's 2? Kills on the draw. You have the Reaver, kills on the draw. Yeah, also that. Right, Drogskill Reaver? Oh, wait, no. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. I feel like Rogue gets clowned on too much now. Sure has stiff competition with other coastlands. It still like it's reasonable. Yeah, if your deck often ends up as like 7+, like yeah, I guess. But like if I go to like top commanders, I don't know, mono red, Reliquary Tower. EDH rank will take forever to load. Activate the tree's ability. Yeah, should it still be 2? I have no idea. There's like 2,362 players who are playing Krenko who think they get 7+ constantly. I don't... doesn't make any sense. I don't know where... you've been cards like Scourge Familiar... Discard a bunch of black mana, Exsanguinate or similar. This deck is cooking, and it is hard to figure out exactly what we're cooking. So here's my sorry, since you're in the chat, I guess I'll here's my here's a recommendation. Um if you have a deck that is aiming to do something like this, Lich, Quasar, draw your whole library, and you have one line that wins from that, like Rituals into Scourge Familiar into Torment wins, you don't need anything else that wins. Lab Maniac can also, get cut. Approach of the Second Sun can also get cut, etc., 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 right? Chromatic Orrery would go crazy. Yeah, that card is also a potential add. It's like $20, isn't it? It's like $50. Golly. So you only need one I win line realistically, right? Because you just don't cast the Lab Man or whatever like earlier. So I think you can trim down on like the other lines and add more defensive things like Grand Abolisher. You can add the new Grand Abolisher. You can add a defense grid. Grid. You can add like defense grid and stuff and try and go for your combo. My other suggestion is if we're not trying to draw our deck too much, and you don't want to win with that for whatever reason, and you want to play more mirror universes, I think you need more life loss effects, and then more life swapping effects like this. Those are my overall thoughts of this deck. It's fine to play it as like a combo list, but I think we need to make your combo lines more compact. Have as few cards as possible to put together your win, Very cool deck though. I hope to see it on stream one day. Is so strange. It's so weird. We're playing Words of Worship. There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in this deck. There's a lot of things here. Why not put in Chromatic Lantern? You don't need Chromatic Lantern in this list. Oh, look, we got fetches, we got triomes, we got shocklands. Our mana base is great. Mana base is excellent. I wouldn't even be that concerned about hitting the quad black because we don't need to do it that early. Yeah. No, I'm glad you appreciate the feedback. Yeah. No, I'm glad. Probably less combo-ish and stuff because there's less free actions and tutors. Yeah. If you wanted to like power up the combo end, you would want stuff like Pact and Negation. But yeah, cool deck. Very strange. You were trying to do many things. I think you might be trying to do too many things, which is a mistake that I make a lot when I build decks, is they try to do too many things. And I think we need to just trim it back a little bit and focus it in a bit more on a smaller subset of things you want to do. Rowan's Ultimatum. High power EDH. All right, so this is sweet. This is we're playing bracket 4, Like this is really cool. I'm actually really excited about this. Fairby Orrery was considered for color fixing, I thought. Oh, yeah, but Orrery has other effects, right? So Orrery is you can spend mana as though it was mana of any color. Whereas with Chromatic Lantern, you would still need to tap lands to get the color fixing. Whereas with the Orrery, you could discard cards to Scourge Familiar, cast the Orrery, discard more cards to Scourge Familiar, and use that as blue mana to cast Lab Man. Which I think makes the Orrery meaningfully different in the combo line than Chromatic Lantern. Yo, what up, Alex? We're looking at your list. Yeah, this deck is sweet. It's really cool. There's a couple of really honestly like pretty small changes. Darkness. This is for high power EDH, right? In high power commander, I feel like there's not as many combat effects, at least in when I've run into it. There's not as many combat oriented decks. I'm not super sold on Darkness. Maybe it's a meta call for you, so like, you know, let me know if that makes a difference. Dark Confidant, a little slow. When you're playing a Storm deck like this, and this also goes for Darkness, when you're playing a Storm deck like this, cards that do nothing during the Storm turn should be very few and far between, and should be very purposeful and meaningful. And you don't want too many of those. So it's just Dark Confidant in Darkness. Don't do anything during the Storm turn, really. And then Beseech the Queen, a cool card, but I think we do a little bit better. I know it works with your commander, but suppose you guys it works with your commander to reduce it to 0, which is pretty good. But it's like 6. Maybe, I don't know. I'm iffy on Beseech the Queen. Poor Bob, he's been superseded. Yeah, like this card hasn't been good in any format in a long time. Here's a couple of changes. Underworld Breach. I was shook that there's no Breach in this list. We're playing Cabal Ritual, we're playing Dark Ritual, we're playing Big Score, we're playing Desperate Ritual, and there's no Underworld Breach? I mean, come on. Come on. I don't want to say no-brainer, but like, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? This is why you don't understand deep tech. Yeah, the chromatic orrery, those like weird lines are interesting. Dismember. Instead of Darkness, I kind of like Dismember. As removal, it kind of fills the same-ish role, right? You can remove a creature so it doesn't damage you. But also, during your Storm turn, you can spend 1 on Dismember, pay 4 life to power up Rowan, right? Isn't Rain of Filth a good tool for Blackstorm? Rain of Filth is also a good one. It's not as good to... this is the one that's like... it's for... Oh, I was thinking of the Black High Tide. Oh, I was thinking of a totally different card. Rain of Filth... I don't know if this deck needs that much mana to Rain of Filth. I don't know if you want to be ultra all-in, but maybe. That's another option. So Dismember I like in this list, and then I'll talk about Rain of Filth more in a second. And then Chain of Smog. Okay. So Chain of Smog is a very good Magic the Gathering card. A lot of people read it and they go, oh, target player discards 2 cards, and then they can copy it, right? The way it works with cards like Professor Onyx, which has Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. But what you do is you have Professor Onyx in play, you cast Chain of Smog, you target yourself. You discard 2 cards, and then you can choose to copy of it. And then you target yourself. And you target yourself, and you target yourself, and you target yourself. And that is 2 cards, instant win the game, right? Because this drains your opponents for each time you do that. It's a very compact, very powerful combo that is, like, quite difficult to disrupt. Especially because it needs, like, a Planeswalker in play or something, which is, like... unless they have spot removal for the Planeswalker, you can just play this and win. Black Tech not playing Bojuka Bog. I think they're not playing Bojuka Bog because this is for a fast deck. I think the tap land is a huge downside in a list like this. Self-target Infant Drain, yeah. A Bubbling Muck, thank you. Is Snuff Out in here? Snuff Out is already in here, I think. It was like one of the first things I thought of. Oh, is Snuff Out not in here either? Oh, shoot. Snuff Out's a very good Magic the Gathering card. Pauper All-Star, by the way. I think it's actually a little cheaper than this Mystery Booster one. If you get, like, the Doctor Who one? No? See you later? Dual deck? Damn, this card's more expensive than I remember it being. Anyway, it's a 4-mana Doomblade, but you can pay 4 life and cast it for 0 mana as long as you control a swamp. Works with Urbrask also. Yeah, that's true. Yes, yeah, works with Urbrask also. Yeah, so you have the Chain of Smog plus Urbrask combo as well. You know, the more I look at it, I wonder if Beseech is better than Wishclaw Talisman. Oh, it's so hard to to actually like quantifiably say that. This list is really cool and interesting. I think Rakdos Storm is a very difficult type of deck to build because you have a lot of options and different ways you can go it. So actually, one is the cheapest one. Yeah, you even get to pay life. Yeah. We want graveyard hated instant speed. Yeah, agreed. Man, this is an interesting deck. It is a little hard for me to evaluate with how having seen the deck played many times because of the nature of storm decks. Gutshot is a free 3 life off. Yeah, because you can target yourself, but it doesn't do. It has like little to no utility after that. You know. I was thinking, should I cut Opal as well since it's rare that I have enough artifacts? Maybe. The answer to that might actually be, you cut some of the utilities lands like Homeward Path, and maybe play some of the artifact lands. You could add the artifact lands and cut some of those to maybe hopefully turn on Opal a little bit more. There's other things we could do, like we could play mana neutral stuff to turn on Opal, especially no more. Yeah, without Dockside, this deck is like a lot worse. There's more mana neutral artifacts we could utilize. What's the one that gets charge counters? That's like 2 mana. Counter artifact 2. Yeah, you can have Volta Whisper. Yeah, I think Volta Whisper and Great Furnace is a good. Pentad Prism. You could add things like Pentad Prism over something that's like kind of neutral, because it's like it lets you bank mana for your storm turn, and then also it's like mana neutral during the storm turn. You know, a Jeweled Amulet might be worth. This is another. So this is another card that a lot of people don't know about. Jeweled Amulet is 0 mana for an artifact. You pay 1, tap, put a charge counter on it, and then you can tap, remove the charge counter to get a color and type of mana that was used to pay for the ability, right? Oh, Blood Celebrant spotted in this deck could work in the Lich deck as well. You're correct, actually. That's true. Prismatic Lens, if we just need a generic mana or want to filter colorless, yeah, Jeweled Amulet could work. It lets you cast your commander on turn 2, which is kind of what you want to be doing. Maybe Return the Favor is a bit mana intensive. Or I guess Reiterate has buyback. Maybe Return the Favor is a bit mana intensive. That might be another cut. I'm out of water. Crap. Prismatic Lens. Oh yeah, you already said that. Yeah, Alex, I think Hex Parasite is 1 mana, infinite life loss outlet. Yeah, but it's like so bad during the storm turn. I don't think this deck has trouble losing life, from what I feel like I can gather here. I think we can lose life easily enough. I mean, maybe. Sounds a bit slow on the amulet. I don't know. It is it's so awkward if you don't have it in your opening hand, right? Oh, you ended up removing Return the Favor. Okay, yes, this does feel a little slow. Okay. Maybe Hex Parasite is worth. It is 1 mana, right? It's a 1-drop. That is efficient, right? Yeah, like it's hard to beat 1 mana. You like the birds in the background? Yeah, I just have my window open because it's really hot in here. And there's some like pigeons that sometimes hang out on my balcony. Maybe Toronto's Hope Beacon is also too much meta. This list is cool. I think it's very difficult to optimize for high power EDH. But I think overall this list is pretty good. I think I might need to see it play a few times. But I would roughly say Chain of Smog for sure, Underworld Breach for sure, Snuff Out or Dismember kind of fill that same role. I think those are for sure adds. Hex Parasite, Amulet, Pentad Prism, these are like more Rain of Filth or like more thinking things if you feel like you need more of that. Hex is already... Yeah, no, I get that. That's true. Hex Parasite might be better than Blood Celebrant. You might just want both. You might just literally want both. So I think that those like Chain of Smog and Underworld Breach are the for sure adds. These are probably cuts. Maybe Beseech the Queen is good enough to keep. 6 is just like a lot. I feel like sometimes it may not work. I don't know. Those are my overall thoughts on the list. I would love to see this deck in action. Okay. I need to get some water before I keep talking. My throat is killing me. I will be back in like 20 seconds. Hello, chat. I am back. Oh, what was that, Alex? Searing Touch. Yeah, Searing Touch is such a silly card. I saw it in the list, and I was like, it's so funny. And yeah, with Stormkiln Artist, if you have the buyback reduced, you can just like go infinite with it. It's kind of cool. It's a silly card. It's like, so then I got one printing. Okay, so this list is by Big Bucci, and they told me specifically this list has some restrictions. So they wanted to build big, dumb Timmy cards exclusively. So all of the creatures are just big, dumb idiots by themselves. They have no death triggers, no enter the battlefield effects. So that is a restriction for everything in this list. So they're all slow, fair cards, right? No death triggers, no ETBs. And Safy is the commander just as a way to protect the big dumb idiots. You play it early, you play your big dumb idiot, and then you go, if it dies, that's fine, I'll use Safy to protect it, and I can attack with it. No silly Safy infinites, no combos of this. This is pure big dumb creature smash. Raw. That is it. That is the only thing this deck does. Period. And I actually talked to this patron before and recommended Cauldron of Souls as another way to just protect your big dumb idiots. So with all those restrictions in mind, I have a few changes. Sterling Grove and Traverse the Outlands. So Sterling Grove is kind of odd in this list. There are good enchantments to tutor up and protect, but I don't think it's like that necessary. It feels like you're wasting a slot by having this card in there as well. Traverse the Outlands. Search the library for X bases, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control, blah, blah, blah. If you're already at the mana where you have one of these like 7-drops in play, you don't need 5 more basics in play. It's like so win more, you know? Time to tell my bias take that Warren Powerstone has to be in this. No, better than the Unstable Obelisk? No, Unstable Obelisk is so good. This card's awesome. I love Obelisk more than Warren Powerstone. I'm sorry. I think it's good. It's pretty sweet. It blows up anything. Here's my additions. Pattern of Rebirth. This is another way to kind of protect your big dumb idiots because it lets you swap your big dumb idiot for a bigger dumber idiot, you know? So you play your big strong silly guy, you put Pattern of Rebirth on it, and then there's no sack outlets. It's just like a rattlesnake. Like, ooh, don't destroy my guy, I'll get a bigger guy. I think it's kind of funny in this deck. And then Reprieve is you're definitely weak to board wipes, and we do have a few ways to protect our stuff. But like Reprieve is just another way to do that. It buys you another turn. It's pretty good. Aura Shards. Aura Shards is this is a good Magic the Gathering card. Yeah, this card's very, very good. I remember I was going through like a buddy's bulk bin, and there was an Aura Shards, and I was like, dude, this card's like $10. And he was like, oh. It was just in his like bulk nothing bin. Does the deck play new Green Sun Zenith that harmonizes? From the new set? No. Oh crap, what's that card called? Oh man, it's like green. I think it's a sorcerer, right? Harmonize. Nature's Rhythm. Yeah. Actually, Nature's Rhythm could be a pretty sweet addition to this list, actually. Is Gift of Immortality in here? Oh, you know what? That's actually a fun idea too. Yeah. Gift of Immortality is another way to just keep your like big dumb idiot. It's like seems like you could be up on the beanstalk. It's already up. The beanstalk's already in the deck, baby. Yep. Nature's Rhythm. What is Nature's Rhythm? Oh, that was the name. Yeah. Well, what do we cut for that though? Is like the real question. I don't know. The deck has so much ramp. I can't tell if it's like too much ramp. Maybe Whoops, I bonked the mic. My bad. Sorry, chat. Maybe Praetor's Council is kind of win more. I don't know how many things are gonna be in the yard other than like ramp spells. Who's up stocking their beans? Yeah, true. It's so funny how broken this card is. Like it's like it took over like every format. It is so it got banned in Modern. It's still good in Legacy. It's the best card in Standard, pretty much. Or, well, maybe Monstrous Rages. It's one of the best cards in Standard. Cut a land, who needs lands? Facts. No, I actually like 38 lands in this. Maybe you don't need Gift of Immortality. You have Mimic Vat for, like, the same thing. I don't know. Maybe. That's like a maybe. I kind of like it, though. Anyway, that was this list. It's kind of, it's simple. It's funny. I kind of like it. It's just, big creature. This is a good bracket 2 list, I think. It can do some powerful things. It's got greater good and big creatures. It's got card draw. It'll like do stuff. But like it has that heavy restriction. We're moving on. Oh wait. I think this is another Lich deck that somebody else submitted. So you put the gift on Safy. Oh, you put the gift on Safy. Oh, yeah. Actually, no, that's true. That works. That's pretty good. Smoke Surprise is a good way to cheat stuff into play too. Yeah, the deck didn't. I think he didn't want to cheat anything into play either. Lich deck again. We're liching a second time. Okay, so this is another Lich deck that has a bunch of weird weird crap in it. Yeah, more Lich gaming, which is very, very funny. This is like less of a combo list. Kind of. I mean, we're still doing life swappy things. All right, here's a couple of changes. Tato Farmer. It's a little slow in a deck like this. That's not really a lands deck. I think it's just slow in this list. Wreck Sage, I'll show a replacement for later. Orbs of Warding. Does this do something for the Lich that I don't know about? Is there a rules thing here? Orbs of Warding doesn't seem to make any sense here. And then they have this Defiled Crypt Cadaver Lab, which is like a really slow Tormod. It's Tormod, but only once each turn. I don't think it's very good. And you're running Tormod, right? But like, it's just really bad Tormod. Windgrace's Judgment. Removal. I think you needed more. It's good. Shieldred. Yeah, Shieldred also works really well with the Lich stuff, right? Actually, it's probably in there because it's a permanent that's removal for is it? I guess. But like, we're not sacrificing. Here's the problem with the Rex Sage. We're not like sacrificing it, right? So like, we're probably going to use it like once. Maybe. I don't know. Windgrace's Judgment is just like, it hits 3 things though, you know? And like, you don't want to have to spend your turn reanimating the Rex Sage. You want to get something else back. Like a Gravemaker Lamia, you know? Shieldred works with the Lich plan, right? To like, gain life and draw cards. Magus of the Mirror, I saw that this user had it in the maybe board already. And if you want to be doing the life swap stuff, you kind of need those effects. So here's more of it. If you mill it over, you can play it on like Naturalize or something. That's true. It just feels like we don't have, there's, other than the commander, there's not that much self-mill, right? We got like Crawling Infestation and Crawling Sensation and like, I don't know, that's kind of it. Ripples of Unearth? We're kind of low on self-mill. Doom Whisperer? Angel? I don't know. Maybe. It still seems like, is that what you want to be getting back? Rex has so many better variations now that you can recast. Yeah, that's true. Caustic Caterpillar. I kind of like Caustic Caterpillar better because it sacks itself, since we don't have a way to sacrifice the Reclamation Sage. We don't have a way to sacrifice the Reclamation Sage, so if it sits on the board, we're not getting it back anyway. Yeah, Magus the Mirror, and then Darkstar Augur is kind of a cool. It's like a double Dark Confidant. It's 4 mana for 2 Dark Confidants, right? And in this deck where we're trying to like lose life and like life swap, it seems pretty good. The Fungus is better than the Caterpillar. Insidious Fungus. Yes. The Fungus is probably better than the Caterpillar. Yeah, another Lich deck. Another Lich deck in the books. This one's, I think, more about like swapping life, and I think you just need more life swap effects. I don't know what Orbs of Warding is for. They already have Haywire Might. Is another version of that effect important? You know, see, that's why. Okay, so you know, I agree. This is a good question. Which is why I was suggesting Windgrace's Judgment in the first place. Like over the Rex Sage. Like, yeah. We already have Haywire Might. Kind of does the same thing. Windgrace's Judgment is a 3/4. This card is crazy. But I do agree. This Fungus is good. I don't know. It kind of depends. Maybe this deck self-mills more than I think it does. But I could be wrong. I do like it, by the way. This is like a funny list, right? You lower everyone's life total. You play like repay in kind. It's silly. It's goofy, right? Like this is cool, you know. You went for Seal of Primordium in your list. That one also works. I don't know if we have any creature synergies in here that care about that, but Seal of Primordium, it doesn't trigger Insidious Roots, right? Whenever we're on creatures, so it is slightly worse. Okay, I'm gonna move on to a non-Lich deck. Okay, we have a Nethroy list here. So this deck looks to be heavily leaning on Eerie Ultimatum, which is a crazy Magic the Gathering card. Interesting that this is well, it's just an interesting card, I guess. It's kind of odd that it's like $7, even though it's really you can only play it in a few decks because it's 3 colors. Anyway, a couple of small changes. Tato Farmer. Again, we're not like a lands deck. I feel like we're not triggering this that often. It seems kind of eh. I had them cut Insidious Fungus because we're like reanimating and cheating things into play. I think Acidic Slime is just better because it has a better body. But maybe the Fungus is better. I don't know. I feel like we're doing a lot of cheating and reanimating into play, so like the Slime's body is I think a little better for the mutate pile. Maybe I'm wrong about that. There was a random Crystal Barricade. I know you get it into play for free with Nethroy, but like, it's not that good. So instead I added a Dryad Arbor because it's like a land and a dude, so it works with a lot of the other stuff. And you can get it back with Nethroy. It's kind of cool. Winning the lottery compares to the happiness when resolving Eerie Ultimatum. Yeah, I had Eerie Ultimatum in like some Abzan deck I was playing, and I ended up cutting it because it was just like you go self mill, Eerie Ultimatum, I win. It was kind of crazy. But the decks just kind of ended up all feeling like that. Acidic Slime having 2 power versus 1 could be worse. Could go either way. Yeah, I was wondering, like, yeah, is the 1 extra power that much worse? Versus your, like, mutate piles having Death Touch is kind of nice? I don't know. I don't know how much the mutate pile utility is worth. I could literally just be wrong about that. Oh. It says, hold on, we're connecting you to my channel. What has happened? My restream die? To activate chat, please enable chat. Okay. Ooh. Hang on a second. My thing is being weird. Oh, there we go. Okay. Is the chat back? What the hell? That was weird. Okay, cool. I don't know. My OBS was just being weird. Looks like the stream's still up. Alright, that was strange. Eerie Ultimatum Venn diagram with Protean Hulk is a sort of, yeah, exactly. It's one of these cards that is just like, I don't know. You kind of just win with it. It's fine. It's fine if that's what you want to do. It just wasn't for me, which is why I wasn't playing that list anymore. Anyway, back to changes. Oh yeah, Violent Tumor. This card's really good. Violent Tumor. It also is a 2/2 with Death Touch, which kind of I feel like helps somewhat with the additional mutate stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But most importantly, Violent Tumor is Entomb on a creature, right? It just puts a thing in the bin, which is really, really good in a deck like this. Especially because you extremely want Scourge of the Skyclaves in your graveyard, right? Because of the way it works with like Nethroy. Playing Contest of Claws is pretty good. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to another creature. If excess damage is dealt this way, you discover X, which is pretty sweet. Time could be a solid alternative engine for the deck if Nethroy's too slow. Maybe? Yeah, Orvik Lore Mage I think is in the deck. I think that card is slow as dirt. It's not in the list, okay. I think the Lore Mage is slow. I think this card's so slow. I know it's like tap to entomb, but like 4 mana with a tap ability is like, oh. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I haven't been impressed with the card when I've seen it. Anyway, those are the changes to the Nethroy list. It's nothing too crazy. Pretty good deck overall. Next, we are looking at Kaima, the Fractured Calm. So this is a very strange commander. You want to enchant your opponent's stuff so it gets goaded and then they like attack your stuff, you know? So you put like a Dragon Mantle on your opponent's creature, you draw a card, and then it gets goaded, right? Which is cool. I like this card. This is a fun commander. A couple of changes. Worldly Tutor, I think, was an odd include in this list. Yeah, it can get us an Enchantress, but like we're really more of an enchantment deck and rely heavily on the commander. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what we're tutoring for specifically. 3/3 hell, 3/3 upkeep hater, trinket is a tap hater. I mean, I'm not as much of a like upkeep or tap ability hater as Elk is, but on a 4-drop creature that's just like a 3/3, it's pretty slow. It's kind of bad. If it was like 3 mana or 2 mana, it would be so much better. Nissian Wanderer, it's got a Constellation, but it's like not that good of an effect. And then Chandra's Ignition, I don't know if your commander is going to get strong enough to kill with this. And you kind of don't want to board wipe too much because you want to goad stuff. It seems a little eh. A couple of changes. Bedlam, really funny in a goad deck. And your commander also gets big, so it's really good here. Gaia's Gift and Sofa Boots are just more protection for the commander. This is a deck that needs the commander in play, otherwise it doesn't work nearly as well. So because of that, we are adding 2 more protection pieces. But yeah, overall, it's a goad deck, so I can't really be mad. Next, Chicken Dinner. Okay, so this was an interesting deck. So it's playing Rocco's Street Chef, which is like at the beginning of your end step, each opponent exiles the top card of their library. Until the next end step, each player may play the card exile this way. Whenever anyone plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile, you put a counter on a creature and make a food token. So this just wants you and everyone else to cast stuff from exile. And we're playing all the good stuff, right? We got like Uba Mask is a good way to do that. We got, Itali is another good way to do that. How do I feel about War's Toll? It's okay. So I think someone else asked about this. War's Toll is, the problem is this first line of text here. That gets everybody to just attack you is the problem. And if a creature an opponent controls attacks, all their creatures have to attack, right? This gets people to attack you, and then they have to attack all out, which is usually the correct decision for them. So it just makes them play optimally to kill you. So you need to pair this with Pillow Fort effects, otherwise it's just not that good. Okay, so a couple of changes here. Savvy Trader, it's like 4 mana. I think it's a bit slow. Quintorius, same thing. 5 mana, Planeswalker. I think it's just going to die. Killer Service is okay. I'm not a huge fan of having to pay the 2 mana. Jahir, I don't think we have like enough big mana cards, X spells like this. Our curve is pretty low. I don't think we need the ramp from her. Aerial Extortionist, slow card. Not very good. Couple of changes. One, I didn't think we had enough lands. So Gavany Township is pretty sweet. To buff up our dudes, we already want to put counters on things. Fountain Port. If we're making tokens, it does say sack a token, draw a card. Pretty sweet. Possibility Storm is another way to like mess with people's stuff, force exile, and do all these other shenanigans. So I think it's a pretty sweet ad here. Curse of Hospitality is another way to get people to attack not you, and then also cast things from exile, which triggers Rocco. And lastly, Banquet Guess. I felt like you needed a little bit more oomph, a little bit more power, a little bit more like killing ability, and this is going to make a lot of food. I think Banquet Guess is going to be like a pretty lethal threat. Those are my changes for this list. Next we got a Marchesa deck. Seconds before my realization that lands are kind of cool. Oh, we got the deck creator. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is a cool deck. I've never seen this commander see play though. Does it play well? Seconds before your Omen Machine, Valana. That's. I mean, you can open Omen Machine to like really force players, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, this is a cool deck beat. I liked it. All right, we are on to Marchesa. A couple of changes here. All right, Reliquary Tower. This is a 3-color deck. This is a colorless land. And also, I don't know if you're going to like really have too many cards in hand at all times. I don't think it's worth. We're already a reanimator deck anyway, so like Spymaster's Voltage is better. You want to discard cards for Reliquary Tower. Like if your 8th card is Wonder, that's like good to discard it. This is like a detriment to your strategy. Spymaster's Vault, 100 times better than Reliquary Tower. Goblin Bombardment, we're not going that wide. I don't know why we have the sack outlet. Collective Brutality, great card in Modern, but not too much in Commander. Spymaster's Vault over the tower, yep. Sneak Attack, we're playing a reanimation style deck or whatever. Sneak Attack is pretty sweet to get your Primordial out and attack with it, or Master of Cruelties. It's a sweet card, and it's so much cheaper after the last reprint. And then into the Flood Maw. I really like cards like this in Grixis lists. So it lets you bounce anything, which is really important because you can't deal with enchantments too well. And then also Gift does not target an opponent, but remember you can gift the fish to anyone you want, so you can bounce someone's thing, so you can attack. You don't have to gift them the fish. You can gift someone else the fish, and they still don't have blockers. Yeah, what up, KOG? Otherwise, yeah, it's a reanimated list. This is a sweet deck. I just think like Reliquary Tower actively is like a negative for this list. You can discard Faithless Looting. It's got flashback. You can discard Anger. You can discard your reanimation target. And then reanimate it with Persist or whatever. It's just really bad in this list. Playing Show and Tell in EDH is. So I remember last time I saw someone play. Last time I played Show and Tell. So I used to play Show and Tell in my Jace deck, which lets you put anything, pretty much anything from your hand to play. And then, so I would just Show and Tell Omniscience, and then you could like storm off. And then I remember I played it once, and my opponent put a Spine of Ishsaw in play and blew up my Omniscience, which was really funny. Yeah, Gaia Reach would probably be a better, colorless land. Yeah, I agree. Yes, that was a cool Grixis list. But we're moving on to the Bond, right? It's not John, right? Bond, Beguiling Balladeer. Anyway, this commander is interesting. It lets you foretell cards, and then when you cast your second spell each turn, you goad something, which is pretty fun. And this is like a spell slinger list where, you know, they're leaning a little bit harder into the second spell type thing. So a couple of changes. Warstorm Surge. We're making a lot of like 1/1 tokens with like third pass Iconoclast. It's just not that much damage compared to like Impact Tremors for its mana cost, you know? Lightning Bolt. Our commander reduces the cost of things by 2. I know it's like a quick spell you can cast, but it's kind of eh. Dreamtide Whale. If somebody could explain to me how Dreamtide Whale helps with Foretell, that'd be great. I don't know why we're proliferating, other than it proliferates its own vanishing counters. Yes, this is the Chris Pine card. I don't know what the Dreamtide Whale is for. And then we have an Arcane Denial in here. And here's the thing is, we're playing a commander that reduces the cost of things by 2. We could be upping this to a 3 mana counter spell or higher to get a little bit more utility out of it. So a couple of changes. One, Young Pyromancer. We're a Spellslinger deck. How you have Iconoclast but not Young Peasy? That's crazy. Unwind, I think, is a really interesting card and is very, very powerful when you reduce the cost of it. If you foretell Unwind, and then later you get to go like cast this, untap 3 lands for 1 mana, it feels awesome. You can do some crazy shenanigans. It will catch your opponents off guard. It's really good. Impact Tremors, like I said, I think it's just less mana than Warstorm Surge, and we're making 1/1s, so I think it's better. And then Exhaustion. At the beginning of your opponent's next turn, they skip their next untap phase, I believe. Let me get the right. This should be the Oracle text. It's the list version. They skip untapping their creatures and lands, right? I guess they untap their artifacts. This card is crazy. If you reduce the cost of it by 2, and then you just have it floating in Foretell, and your opponent goes, "Oh, I'll tap out on an end step to cast this thing," you just time walk them for 1 mana. It's crazy. You also had a bunch of Planeswalkers in here that probably could get cut, but I assume they're there for funsies. Also, Rewind. Yeah, Rewind also can do a similar thing. I kind of liked the holding up for like 1 mana, but Rewind for 2 basically does the same thing. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, cool deck. Moving on to the last 2, and then I'll do some examples of how I'm changing this. Strix, Carrier of Flame. So this is like a Phoenix slash, bring your commander back or other stuff back from the graveyard type list. And this user submitted a deck list that had 105 cards, so I just cut 5 cards. Sensibly while in this deck while everyone's waiting for you, you keep foretelling. Actually, I'll add Standstill. It's funny. It's not. I don't know. Here's the problem: is like Standstill is like really bad in Commander because like your opponent's drawn 9 cards, but it is funny. I don't know if I can like say it's a recommendation though. It is funny though. I'll mention it. So if they watch the VOD, they can see that. Yeah. So just a few cuts because they had 105. And they wanted to cut down to 100. Hazard's Monument. We're doing a lot of like reanimating and like looping, so it's not going to trigger as often as you might think. Gaia Reach Sanitarium. We actually had a lot of lands, 38 with MDFCs, and the mana cost, average mana cost is not that high, so we could go down a land. Dog Detective is like pretty slow. Demand Answers. We had like all of these effects, so I just cut this one because we had too many of these. And then this, which is like a slow bad Tormod, and you weren't even playing regular Tormod, so I don't know why we're playing bad Tormod. Your opponent draws 6, and then the one guy who doesn't is really sad. Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's funny. I don't know. Giving your other 2 opponents 3 cards each is like, that's a lot. That's a lot of cards. Okay, and then last one for the old style of how I'm doing these in all the list. So this is like kind of like a creature-y focused one with a lot of wizards, which is also we had like 40 lands. I didn't think we needed that many, so I cut a Crumbling Necropolis. A Thousand Year Storm. There's only 12 instants and 5 sorceries in this deck. I don't know what we're doing with Thousand Year Storm here. Yo, what up, Way Too Elite? Imagine playing Stifle and Standstill and Stifle. It doesn't work quite that well, right? Because when you cast the Stifle, it'll trigger the Standstill. Or after the Standstill's abilities on the stack. Would you also not draw the cards? We went over this on a different stream. Standstill kind of sucks. And Thousand Year Storm also sucks in a deck that has like 12 instants, many of which are counter spells. So yeah, cut Thousand Year Storm. And then Windfall. We're playing blue. You don't need to give your opponents cards. We have tons of card draw. You're playing a deck with Rhystic Study. If your hand is full of cards from Rhystic Study, why are we windfalling to give your opponents a bunch of cards, you know? Yeah, Thousand Year Storm. Hey, yo, what up, Blood Artist? Thousand Year Storm is hard to get to work, even with a wide density of instant sorceries. Yes, you have to untap with it. You need to play a lot of like 1-drops. But we're playing stuff like Counterspell, Cyclonic Rift, Force of Will, Polymorphous Jest. These are not Thousand Year Storm cards. Where's the goal with this list? I think it's just make wizards attack with like Dose into Perfection things. Which is why I wanted to add some more win cons. Thank you, Kenan, because I think this like needs more ways to win the game. Thank you, Way Too Elite. Cycling the Stifle Bird from Amonkhet works well with Standstill. But Stifle just means you break. Yes, you're right. Yes, if you cycle the bird, it'll work better. So Talrand. All right, we're playing Dose into Perfection. That's like our only win con of the deck. We need a second win con. And at least the Talrand works with the counter spells. And then Step Through. Another sorcery. It has wizard cycling as well, so we can trigger more things. And then Beguiler of Wills is kind of sweet to make copies of. Because it's just as gain control of, not gain control of until the Beguiler leaves. Can Fury Storm copy itself? What? Fury Storm. This is the one that, like, when you cast this spell, copy it for each time you cast. No, it doesn't just go infinite with itself, right? That'd be crazy. The copy of the stack is not cast. Abilities. Blah. This means, for example, that Fury Storm copies may target Fury Storm itself, but this won't trigger the copies when you cast. Oh, I guess you can copy itself. See? Boom. It may copy itself. Look at that. The beauty of Scryfall. It has all of the rulings, which is very helpful. So for this deck, I think there's like some, like, you need to like decide a couple of things. Are we winning with, I hit the mic again. Are we winning with wizards? If so, we need like more ways to turn these wizards into like damage to like win. Are we playing a Spellslinger deck with like Talrand, Dose into Perfection, Thousand Year Storm? Then we need to cut wizards and put more spells in, you know? Like, this deck needs to focus one way or another. And my problem is kind of not focused enough on either of those. Waiting the Oracle text explains the card, yeah. Yeah, Fury Storm is one card, I guess, Infinite Magecraft triggers, yeah. Okay, so these decks were all the ones that I was looking at doing the old method where I like spend a lot of time on my own and I prep and say something for each list. But now I will use a couple other decks as examples. Where I'm going to try and do, this is how I'm going to, going forward, try to do these deck reviews so I can get into like more of them. because otherwise patrons end up waiting like way too long for a review to happen. And I don't want to. Some people have been asking. They're like, "Oh, can I just have like? Is there like a tier where I can spend like $25 and guarantee to get like a list reviewed or whatever?" There are people that do that. I don't want to do that because I don't feel like my advice is worth $25. Like giving me $25, I appreciate it or whatever. But if I'm just gonna look at your list and be like, yeah, it looks pretty good, just upgrade the mana base, you probably should have put that $25 towards the mana base. You know, I like I don't want to charge like way more for deck advice. Is basically it. Oh, what was your list, Tenbury? Did I miss it? Anyway, so what I'm thinking about doing in the future to get more deck reviews in is cutting back on the like back end work and doing more like this. So here is a list from a user, and this is not gonna. I'm not gonna. They'll get to submit again. I'm not gonna use up their slot. We have Amino Frog here. I have not seen this list yet. This is just some Gisa the Trader list that I, was not looking at, and we can look at it right now, and then on the fly, I'll give like suggestions for additions and changes here, and then I can go through like more lists, and I can stream this multiple times in a month. So I'm gonna use a couple of decks here as an example, and then maybe in like a week or two, I'll just go through more patron decks. That's basically how it's gonna work from now on, and we'll see how this works. So, chat, we're looking at this Gisa list. What do we do? The first thing I do, always, lands. All right, we're in 34, 37, including MDFCs. That is a reasonable amount of lands. The mana base could probably be better, but we're in a 2-color deck. I'm not sweating it too much. We have the artifact lands, which are relevant for Gisa because we're an artifact deck. We have some of the obvious additions. Spymaster's Vault is really good. We got Painland, the Bridge, Bajuka Bog. Okay. Mana base is good. We can check that, You've built an Ulek spell copy deck? Fit. Was this the Ulek list that I saw like last month for the patron deck reviews? Okay. Back to Gisa. What else could we have here? What is our like ramp package looking like? What is the goal of this deck? Okay, we got Coveted Jewel. Great Monolith Grinding Station. Second Harvest, Kirkland Ironworks, Manifold Key. We are playing Mind Sliver. This is like a pretty this is probably the most dangerous thing you can do with Gisa, right? Gisa is like Gisa plus Mind Sliver is like really powerful. Raise a Bright Hearth. Interesting. Okay. It looks like we're just kind of like Gisa mid-range, unless there's any like obvious combos that I'm missing, any like crazy synergies overall. And I think this is an example of a deck that is rather difficult to make suggestions for. Because it's kind of already doing all the things correct, like quote unquote, these are correct things, right? We're ramping, we're playing our commander, we're playing the powerful stuff. We're playing Client Ironworks, blah blah blah, right? Is there an infinite combo in here? We can grab Walking Ballista, get infinite mana. I might be wrong. Yeah, what up, John? Shigeki mentioned. Yeah, Shigeki is a pretty sweet addition here. Here's one thing that I'm noticing is how are we winning the game? Like what is actually the like literal end of the game here? What is our end game? Literally. We have like a portal to Phyrexia. So like we can portal and then like win off of that question mark. Get enough counters on a ballista to win again question mark. I'd be shocked if there isn't an accidental KCI loop, but there's no all the good KCI loops are the ones with Scrap Trawler with the Mirror Retriever. There's no Scrap Trawler. There's no Mirror Retriever. There's nothing. I'm actually kind of surprised, but I think there is no infinite with KCI here, unless I'm like missing something. Can run small sweepers. See, both Salt Monolith and Wings of Bright Earth Walking Ballista is a wind. Yeah. So we have Monolith, Salt Monolith. We have Rings of Bright Earth. We have Ballista. We have Kuldotha Forge Master as like one potential tutor. So I guess here are the like changes to make, right? Is do you want to win with this combo, right? If we're going for the combo win, we have Manifold Key. Oh, that's not. Oh, we have Moon Silver Key. That's what I was thinking of. We have Moon Silver Key to find the monolith, but you could maybe we need more tutors because otherwise I don't see how we're getting to this. There's more card draw is another option. Looking at Executioner's Capsule, looking at Mana Vault, looking at Manifold Key. Instead of just adding more tutors, you could add Salvaging Station, one of my favorite cards, and play like more of a grindy kind of mid-range plan. This lets us, kill a lot of things with the Executioner's Capsule. It lets us draw a lot of cards with our Mishra's Bauble. It lets us get back the Brainstone a bunch of times, Chromatic Star, churn through the deck a little bit faster. Quag Feast. Choose target creature, planeswalker, or vehicle. Mill 2 cards, destroy the permanent if its mana value is less than the number of cards in your graveyard. Whoa. I've never seen this card. It seems not that good. Is Quagfest any good? Interesting. I think we want one of two things. I think this deck either wants like more tutors if you want to dig for the combo and find it, or more ways to just like loop and get value to survive until the combo, because I don't see how else we're actually winning the game. That's my evaluation of this list. And then we could, move on to let me grab someone else's list. There's another deck that I haven't. I think there's another one. Here we go. All right, here's another list that I have not seen yet. Can run Shigeki loops with Shigeki plus regrowth, either early harvest with Toll Basics Root Awakening. That's so much mana. That's so much. So did you say plus 14 lands? That's way too much mana. I think it's easier to just win it with a combo at that point. All right, let's look at this Goldberry list. Oh yeah, here's my bracket info. 3 game changers, 5 extra turn effects. Although I think Magosi is not quite a normal extra turn effect, and a bunch of tutors. So this commander is odd. It's a 2-mana 1/3. You can tap, move a counter of each kind not on Goldberry from another permanent to her. And then she lets you move one or more counters from her to another permanent if you do draw a card. That's quitter talk. Thank you, Birds. Look, 14 mana, like, I love 14 mana loops, but it's like, if you're not like a dedicated ramp deck, I don't know if it's worth it. Oh, the deck is playing everything on my jig. Oh no, what does this card do? Move a counter from one permanent to another, second permanent. Or refers to any type of counter to move. Okay, otherwise it becomes a 1/1 counter. Okay. Proliferate. Okay. Interesting. You have a $20 budget Shigeki deck that does stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, that's like if your Shigeki's your commander, it makes more sense. Okay. So this commander is interesting. I want to pull up one of the like. So this is often a combo card. If I just go here, it's with what is the Magosi? Yes. So Magosi, the Water Veil lets you like put Eon counters on it to like skip turns and then take extra turns, and you can like play this plus like Karn's Bastion and like Nesting Grounds to like take infinite turns. Which I assume is what this deck is doing. I need to change it to visual stacks. Which is I assume what we're doing here, right? We have Nesting Grounds. Here's the Karn's Bastion. Here's the Magosi, right? So we have like a. You see this one play with Sagas. This is a cool Saga commander for sure, but I think this is like a combo deck. I think we're just trying to take infinite turns. We have like a Lighthouse Chronologist to like move around counters and stuff. And like Power Conduit. And Magistrate Scepter, which is another thing that makes infinite turns with charge counters. So we're definitely a like combo deck with like so many Planeswalkers. Too many Planeswalkers, perhaps. One might say. It's like way too many. Holy. Tamiyo the Moon Sage. Is it because we can move loyalty around? That seems unnecessary. What a strange thing. This is a weird deck. So our goal is we need an untapper, right? We want untappers on our commander. So we can like untap, move counters around, do our Magosi combos. Couple of things that I'm seeing immediately is how are we finding this crap? Like where are we getting these things? Like if we want to run some of these land combos, what are we doing? Cumulative upkeep with Goldberry is fun. Yeah. With the Remora, it's sweet. You just move like the counters off. Yeah, Tamiyo the Moon Sage in 2025 is crazy. This is a bold choice. This card is so slow and bad. It wasn't even that good back in like 1872 when the card was printed. It's still not very good today. It's just worse today. Here's a couple of things. Teleria West is an interesting card for this. If you're in like a land-based combo deck, this is pretty sweet. It does enter tapped. That is a downside. But it does tap for your colors, and you can use it to search for any basic, or not basic, any land, right? And the fact that we're playing good lands that we want to search up for combos is relevant. And also, you can get stuff like Astral Cornucopia or Everflowing Chalice if that's something you're looking for. And we're already playing Expedition Map. So, like, I feel like Teleria West is just kind of like a... Yeah, totally, we should add that. Maybe over Reliquary Tower. We have the Millennium Calendar in here. This deck is crazy. I'm sorry, there's so many things going on here. Okay, so the Millennium Calendar is a way to win off of infinite turns, but I don't know if that's, like, necessary. You know what I mean? Oh, this is our sideboard. Oh, sorry, this is our sideboard. Okay, good. I was about to say that needs to get cut. Okay, good. That's not in the deck. I was about to start going off on some of these. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't add like most of these to the list. Let's see. We had Deep Glow Skate to Ultimate our Planeswalkers, which is also like crazy. This deck is so odd. It's also a Planeswalker deck. We're also playing Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal combo, which is not only infinite mana in this deck, but it's also like infinite moving counters around. Is there an Urza's Cave in here? Yes. No, that's Urza's Saga. Oh, you're right. Urza's Cave could be really great. It lets you find your other things. Yeah, I like Urza's Cave as well. Man, this card has gotten so much down in price. It's pretty great. Glen Alendra is really funny because because you can like sack it and like move the like counter around. It's pretty sweet. Also, I like the just as an aside, I like the aesthetic for like fairies where they're like bug creatures. I think that's kind of interesting. This person's never had anything bad happen to them in their life. They draw the good cards. They always ultimate. Yeah, I feel like this many planeswalkers and no like protection for them is crazy. Like I'm just looking at our instant sorceries here. There are 0 board wipes in this deck. Is that nuts to play 0 board wipes and 7 planeswalkers? Like I feel like you want things like evacuation. You know, I think you want like Aetherize. Like I think we need ways to protect these planeswalkers. There's no way we have enough mana to actually do the full combo here. Hollow Mist is okay. So Hollow Mist is a funny card. It is not a real land because it doesn't tap for mana. But a creature that attacked during their last turn can't attack this turn, basically. So like creatures can only attack every other turn. It is potentially good in this deck because we can skip the cumulative upkeep, which is funny. So maybe Hollow Mist is a good ad. Half-Bug Fairies are from Lorwyn. Yeah, no, they're cool. I like them. I think it's more fun when the fairies are like insect creatures instead of just tiny humans. Am I missing anything about this commander? Is there anything like obvious that should just be in the deck? I don't think so. I think this is all like there's nothing crazy I'm missing. I guess maybe Unstoppable Plan is another addition, right? That's a new card. Might as well go for Glacial Chasm. Honestly, yeah. Oh, well, I actually don't know if they're trying to... No, there's Game Changers, right? Yeah. They're not trying to avoid them. No, they have Glacial Chasm. Okay, yeah. Okay, we have Glacial Chasm. Man, there's only... I just gotta say, there's only 35 lands, and one of them's Mazavith. I think it might just need more lands, dog. Okay. Final thoughts on this list. I think we need more mana because our curve isn't like that low. We still have quite a few 4 and 5 drops. I think we need more lands. Specifically, Teleria West is a good ad, I think. I think we need some board wipes or ways to stop creatures. I feel like you're just going to get attacked and like lose stuff. I think maybe Lux Cannon is too slow. I know it's funny, but it's really slow in this deck. I think those are the types of things you cut. Maybe things like Guild Pack Informant as well. I'm not really sure. I think what you want to do is you need to cut some of these. I think you need to cut some of the slower planeswalkers. I think we need to cut some of the weird, slower artifacts and add a few more lands and maybe some like creature removal or some more interaction. You know, Urborg is pretty expensive. Does the same thing. Yeah, you could run Yavimaya or Urborg to make them tap for mana. It's like not a bad idea. I actually don't hate. There was a Urborg. There was a time where I played Tomb of Yawgmoth in Mina and Den to help me like tap for mana. Okay, so those are my examples of like the new way of doing these deck reviews. I think this lets me get through like way more of them in a month, which is ultimately the goal. I don't want people like waiting 20 years and spending a lot of money to get some deck advice. So I'll probably be more organized and put them in like a list like this. So I'm not swapping between different things, but this is my idea going forward. I will put all this information in the Patreon as well. If you want your deck reviewed, hey, link below. You can join the Patreon. There's a bunch of perks as well. You could also join and be a member if you like these live streams. I have some custom emotes in there. That's all, really. That's all the membership gets you. Yeah, and I should set up how to do subscriptions on Twitch. Oops, I haven't done that. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. My throat is killing me. I need to drink some more water. Thanks to all the patrons that submitted decks. Thanks to everybody support. I really appreciate it. I know this is a long VOD. Patrons, if you have any questions about your list, just hit me up on the Discord.